Hello, I'm delighted to be here today with Tracy Levine, who is the executive director of the Naomi Ruth Cohen Institute at the Chicago School. The Naomi Ruth Cohen Institute, or as we call it more often than not, is the NRCI, was founded in honor of Naomi Ruth Cohen, whose life was very tragically cut short by suicide. Over the years, NRCI has become a highly trusted voice in mental health education outreach and suicide prevention, not just within our university, but across the broader Chicago community and beyond. Partnering with the NRCI was a natural extension of that mission because the NRCI amplifies our ability to train future mental health leaders, engage in meaningful outreach, and provide education that has real world impact. So together, we're working to dismantle stigma, expand access to resources, and build stronger, healthier communities locally, nationally, and also globally. Now, we're aware that September is National Suicide Prevention Month, and it is a time when we can collectively pause and acknowledge the devastating toll that suicide takes on individuals, families, and communities. But it's also a time of hope, of deep hope, by bringing attention to the warning signs, risk factors, and the available supports. Because by bringing all those things together, we know that we do and we can save lives.
We want to be aware of any significant changes in appearance and behavior, increasing sadness or worry, hopelessness. Hopelessness is one of the biggest factors that contributes to suicidal thoughts and feelings. We're looking for withdrawal, isolation. Warning signs can include direct verbal statements where we might hear somebody say, "I wish I could go to sleep and never wake up." We also want to look for changes in situation, significant losses, other factors that can contribute to feelings of being overwhelmed, unable to cope, or desperate. Dr. Thomas Joiner's interpersonal theory of suicide focuses on three things. One is social disconnection. Another is believing that you are a burden to others. And so when we hear somebody saying that they're a burden or somebody shouldn't have to do something for them, that's something that we want to be aware of, as well as if someone has a reduced fear of death. We actually saw a dip of suicides during the pandemic, which seems counterintuitive because isolation is a factor, but our overall fear of death was escalated, which actually led to some decreases in suicides.
There are many common misconceptions about suicide that you believe it is very important that people understand. And one of those misconceptions is that talking about suicide plants the idea in someone's head. What are other misconceptions about suicide that are important for you to raise our awareness?
I'm so glad you brought up that myth about putting the idea of suicide or increasing risk by asking about suicide. Research shows that we actually decrease risk by asking someone if they're thinking about suicide. Suicide is not about a death wish or a desire to die. It's about not wanting to live like this anymore.
You mentioned during COVID that we actually saw that fear of death had, in some ways, a mitigating role in terms of loss of life to suicide. Are there other trends or emerging areas in suicide prevention that you're seeing in the field right now?
I think the most important thing has been the implementation of 988, which I think was about 3 years ago. And I'm really surprised when I am conducting our training programs about how many people still don't know about 988, which is a direct line to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline and making such a difference. We all know about calling 911 in an emergency. We all need to know about calling 988 when somebody may be experiencing a mental health challenge. And that person who's experiencing that challenge can call someone who is looking to support someone who's experiencing a challenge can call.
What specific programs and research or initiative does the Naomi Ruth Cohen Institute run to address suicide prevention and intervention? And how do our students get involved? What's the impact as well beyond our university on the broader community?
NRCI currently offers mental health first aid programs, which include a segment on suicide, as well as the Question, Persuade, Refer suicide prevention gatekeeper training. We offer these throughout the year.
I think what you're really emphasizing for us there, Tracy, is that prevention is the absolute strongest when it's woven into the fabric of our everyday relationships and our everyday life. You know, even that most basic of question that we ask each other all the time, how are you? And not just quickly saying it because it's a social norm or that's how you begin a conversation, but legitimately living in a mindset of openness and compassion. And when we say to somebody, how are you? That we're really meaning, how are you? And letting it be okay that people answer authentically and very honestly. Tracy, you really are a wonderful person and a wonderful colleague. Thank you for really reinforcing for us that we need to share information in our networks about National Suicide Prevention Month and beyond. And as you had said, take the time to attend NRCI's programs, volunteer with a local organization, but above all, stay engaged. Be the person who asks that difficult question that we discussed at the very top of our conversation together. Be the person who offers support and reminds others that they're not alone, because they are not alone. When we come together as a community, we can create a safety net, and a safety net that saves lives.